Good morning. It is absolutely beautiful this morning. You can see the morning sun peeking through the trees here. And obviously, as you can tell from the many leaves, fall is indeed finally here. So today, I wanted to get out early and just admire the beautiful overcast sky. Unfortunately, the sun was a lot brighter than I expected, but I did remember to bring my trusty blast shield just in case. And I love how it shoots through the trees. It's cool. So anyway, over here is a nice view. I like the way the morning sun lights up the different colors of the leaf change here. So speaking of change, that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to find a place where I can stand, where the sun isn't in my eyes. All right, this will be good. We're going to go over here. We're just going to walk off the road over here. Okay. This will be nice. We'll stand here. Oh, there's a dog yipping over there. Hopefully that won't be too bad. Okay, we're going to stand right here. This is nice. Now, as many of you may know, oh my God, that dog. It just... Okay, this seems to be far enough away to not provoke the dog as much. And if you hear it, it'll be in the background. Sorry. Anyway, as most of you know, tonight is election night in the old US of A. And what is that going to mean for us? It means change. It doesn't matter if they assassinate Trump. It doesn't matter if everything, quote, goes well for MAGA. Change is upon us. We have seen the escalation of this cultural war that we are all in now escalate over the last 8.5, 9 years. It gets worse every day. There's more polarization from schools, teachers, politicians, pundits, writers, creators of video games, actors. Things are getting bad. On a cultural level, I mean. Economics, is it bad? Sure. Religious stuff, is it bad? Sure, yeah. White erasure, is it bad? Yeah, of course. But in the immediate future, I worry what it's going to be like for me to get up every day and be American. Is there really going to be an actual real civil war? I used to laugh at that notion and say no. But seeing the discourse of politicians and how the media is covering things, I don't know. I really don't know anymore. The willingness of the media establishment and the political regime to just lie to us about everything. It has become so... The word for me is unbelievable. And it's not a pun. I didn't used to believe that things could be this corrupt and this blatantly bad and stupid and empty. And then I grew up. And then I watched. From the time I was in my young 20s, and there was 9/11 and Donald Rumsfeld and weapons of mass destruction and going to war with Iraq, and we got to fight them over there instead of over here, and all this dumb shit. In the 20 plus years since then, God, almost 25 years since then, I have watched the discourse in my country get dumber and more polarized every year. Every year. In the 8 years Obama was in office, he lied about all kinds of stuff. His regime lied. The most memey one was like your doctor, keep your doctor, but there were a lot more, especially involving what America was up to in Afghanistan. Other places too, of course, but to think about how we've been lied to sell us this stupid idea of it's a noble, good thing for America to be the world's police force, and that, well, we got to fight them over there, so we don't got to fight them over here. that lie was ushered in maybe even before I was born. But it was definitely ushered in, the concept of it, if not the meme of it, when I was a little kid. Because that is what my parents and the old people and the boomers in my family taught me. Well, go sign up for the military. We got to do our duties to keep this land free. How many effing times was I told that as a youngster? By people who, by all other counts, would be very based by modern internet standards. But they told me that. That was the lie they were raised on. Is what Chris and I covered on Empire of Lies. The United States regime externalized all evil because they don't really believe in God anymore. Almost nobody who rules us does. So they externalized evil into the axial powers, especially old Mr. Hitler, old Uncle Mustache, right? They externalized their evil, their sins, into that effigy, and they killed him or defeated him or whatever you want to call it. And so, quote unquote, we over here beat the evil, therefore we're the eternal good guys, right? See, that mindset, I think, is what really warped everything. Is because now you have, here we are, 3-4 generations now after that ridiculous propaganda of externalizing evil into a man, into an idea of whether it be Nazi Germany or fascist Italy or whatever, externalizing all of the evils in man, which we can't get rid of. They're in all of us. This regime externalized all that in the 30s and 40s. Well, not this current regime. The American regime of the time externalized evil. And then the follow-up regime, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, they made it out like the future was going to be nothing but progress and beauty because we have defeated true evil. And when you think about it as an adult, as a 40-plus-year-old adult, who has spent a lot of time thinking about right and wrong and human behavior and cause and effect, it is the dumbest thing. It is the dumbest, saddest thing that is what happened to America. Because it put us in the situation that we're in now between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. What do I mean by that? When you externalize evil, you're externalizing fault and the pitfalls of sin and desire. And the regime acts like, oh, well, we defeated evil. It's gone. Anyone who doesn't like the regime is the remnant of that evil that we didn't fully eradicate back when we won to change the world. And the boomers grew up on that. And then Gen X grew up on that. I was at the tail end of Gen X, the beginning of the millennials. The millennials grew up on that. And now the millennials and the Gen Xers are basically the politicians now. They're the teachers. They're the ones that's staffing HR. They're the ones that work in media for CNN and all these places. And what do they think? Gen X's and the millennials, we were raised to be snarky atheists that believed in civics, that believed in selfish hedonism. And we were taught that anyone who stands in the way of your selfish hedonism is literally Hitler. And I heard that rhetoric when I was young. They called them Bible beaters, proto-fascists, all this other shit. And they were talking about my family around here. And I'll tell you, from living around here, people around here are more like libertarians than they are anything else. They're like right-wing Christian libertarians. They don't give a shit about nothing. They want to go to church. They want to go hunting. They want to go shoot skeet. They want to go fish. The women want to decorate their houses and go gossip with each other and have mint juleps on the porch. Like, these people around here, they're as far from authoritarian or fascist or whatever as you can be. And in their own way, that makes them really paused and useless. So I learned that it's a lie. calling all of us fascists and anybody that just doesn't like what the regime is doing and doesn't like how cancerous and hollowed out society has become. I know that we're not all literally Hitler. That's retarded. But my point is, many people don't. I'm not even going to say most. Many people. I would say at least 20 to 30% of everyone in the United States is heavily polarized because most people cluster around the bell curve. That's most people. A little bit above, a little bit below, most people are around bell curve. So that means a big chunk, 25, 30, 40%, are going to be gullible, easily led, does what the TV tells them. Their opinions are only formed by people that they respect and look up to and listen to, whether that's in their family, whether that's on TV, whether it's Joe Rogan. That is a large chunk of people. I'm not going to say most, it might not be most, but it's a lot of people. And where are we now? 1965 Hart-Celler Act saw that, our ethnos on a racial level has been muddied. We're being replaced demographically, so you've got all that problem. Then you've got 50, 60 years of feminism turning men against women. That's the sex branch of the anti-white Marxism, or anti-whiteism, if you will. And of course, you've still got the class stuff, which never really went away. It just got quiet. And then you've got the psycho-climate stuff. And then perhaps worst of all, you have all of the transgender homosexual stuff. All those things have polarized the kind of regular person that you'll have to deal with. And when you polarize regular people, like 30, 40, 50% of the country, to think people of this template, they want to genocide trans people, they hate this group, whether it be blacks or Jews or Muslims or whatever their pet group is that they care about, they're going to think that the bad people, just like my Hitler, that's been enshrined into the American boomer truth regime, into the anti-white narrative for the last 80 years, they're going to equivocate all of the things that they don't like and the negative traits into the externalized evil. And everything that they can think of that is bad or wrong, in their opinion, they are going to ascribe to that externalized force. It is like a religion with no God. In Christianity, what do we say? That evil comes from the devil. That the heart of man is dark because Adam and Eve, because Eve committed the sin of eating the apple, the tree of knowledge, and sin came in, and now sin lives in us. Why do we need God? Why do we need the avatar of Jesus Christ, the sacrificial lamb, to forgive us for that inescapable sin of darkness that we have been cursed with because a lady ate an apple in a magic garden, right? So that's what we believe. We don't believe that evil is an entirely external force that can be excised like pulling a tick off your dog's ass. But that is what modern mentality is. And I mean on both sides. Left and right, up, down, and center, traditional, progressive. This mind cancer, this rot, is in everyone on both sides. And I don't literally mean everyone. You know what I'm talking about? The majority of people. If not the majority, the large plurality of people that just buy into media stuff. They buy into Joe Rogan. They buy into Ben Shapiro. They buy into the Young Turks, right? And these are the young people that are going to grow up, and they are going to be the ones in HR. They're going to be the ones with media jobs. They're going to be the ones staffing the bureaucracy. And look where we're at already now with millennials and Gen Xers. Where are we at now? People talk about civil war every day. People on one side of the aisle call the other people Hitler, fascist, Nazi, trans genociders, white nationalists, all this stuff that side says. They use all the anti-white slurs. But what does our side say? Marxist, psycho, evil, Satanists. They call them communists, Trotskyites. They call them groomers. That's a big one that you hear on our side of things. Pedo, baby killer. That rhetoric's on our side. And it's everywhere. I hear it at the gas station. I hear it at the grocery store. So if you have dozens of millions of people that believe one side are the evilest of evil, and then you have dozens of millions of people that believe the other side is the evilest of evil, and those people are growing up to take jobs that shape thought and shape life and society, where do you think we're headed? So think about all of that now, and now think about the election this year. Whether Trump gets assassinated or they throw him in prison, or whether he has a landslide victory, things are going to change. Things are going to escalate. I don't think that the nothing ever happens gang is correct. I don't think that a Trump victory is going to be status quo. Hey, the regime's going to cool its heels, and now we're all going to go send white boys to die for Israel again, and that Trump is a status quo man in disguise. I think the people who say that have not been paying attention, or they're not very smart and are being easily manipulated by thought leaders with an agenda. Not going to name any names, except Richard Spencer. I don't like him. I don't like the people that are of that white unity, white identity ilk, that act like every single thing that goes on is in service to this evil cabal of Jews that is somehow controlling hundreds of millions of people across dozens of bureaucracies of major countries. It's stupid. Motivated minorities, they pressure people with money and social stuff and blackmail and dirty laundry. That's totally real, and it does happen. We know that. But there are more complicated things going on. It's not just medieval small hats. It's the Jews, man. It's not that. It's not always that. It's not that every time. I don't think that Trump is being manipulated or being held under blackmail by Israel or anybody else. It doesn't look that way. I've been paying attention. I see what he does. I see what he talks about. I look at the people around him. I read up on them because I have to for work. These people are serious. At least they talk a serious game, and they seem serious about trying to drain the swamp. Now, it's possible that all of this could just be bluff. I entertain that possibility. I just don't think that that's the case. I think that things that are going on right now are very serious in politics. And I think depending on what happens, we might see a really dark turn in the United States. If they decide to imprison Trump, I think that we might see actual violence and calls for immediate secession. If they imprison Trump or defeat him politically, I think we still might see some of that. But if he gets killed or the election is blatantly stolen again, or even worse this time, even more blatant, I really worry about what's coming down the road. It's not that I don't want my side to win. My side is the side of truth and righteousness and making sense of things and taking intelligent actions. I want not just the white race, but the ethnicity of Appalachians that I'm part of. And I want Christianity to not be paused and gay and stupid. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I would like that very much. I would like to see a return to common sense and meritocracy. That's my side. And common sense and meritocracy and acting in accordance with the natural order, all of those things, if you were to voice them and use the parlance of modern media, anyone who wants that stuff is a far-right white nationalist, super Nazi, ultra bigot. You see where I'm going with this, right? It doesn't matter, really, who wins and who doesn't. The polarization of the last 50 years is reaching critical mass. Now, again, I don't know if that means that it's going to be in 2 years or 20 when this breaks and something actually happens. But it feels like it could be soon. It feels like it could be soon. And I worry. And I want you to be prepared. I want you to be prepared like I always talk about on my channel. Hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Make connections with people like the Old Glory Club and the White Wellbeing Community. People who care about what's going on and are actively engaged in intelligent ways to make things better. Be aware of where the good people and the bad people are where you live. Have a plan. Have a plan of who you can rely on if things get bad. Are you prepared in the case of material hardship? Do you have some money and some supplies put away? Do you have an emergency first aid kit? Do you have some extra medication that your loved ones might need? Maybe an extra month or two supply? You should. This isn't crazy amounts of prepping. This is normal preparation mentality that regular people have. Having a little extra food in the pantry for the winter. Having some extra supplies at home in case the electricity goes out, or you get snowed in for 2 weeks. My Great Lakes bros are going to know what that's like. You have things and you prepare for the worst while hoping and praying for the best. That's how I am about this election. I hope and pray for the best. But it feels like the worst might come to pass. Every week when I prepare the news stuff for my Discord at Dragonstream, I open up either All Sides Media, I usually use that, or I'll just open up a bunch of articles. I'll look at CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, then I'll look at Washington Examiner, Fox News, Zero Hedge, what's the millennial one? Post Millennial, New York Post, Daily Mail, all the slop, right? And what do I notice every week? The polarization is getting worse. It's getting worse. That doesn't lead anywhere stable or good. And I worry. I worry about what's coming. I don't want there to be open violence. I don't want there to be a secession war in the United States again. I don't want there to be open civil strife and economic collapse and people killing each other in the streets over dumb shit that they believe because they've had to grow up on 30 years of CNN calling every white person Hitler. But that might be where we go. And you know what? If that happens, I don't want to be happy about it. I don't want to say I was right. I'm cautioning you that that's what I feel is coming. I'm not an opposite of a nothing ever happens bro that thinks there's always something going on. I don't think that. I do think that status quo means a lot. And I do think that the people in control don't want massive unrest because that's bad for them. Until it isn't. And we've covered what a narco-tyranny is. We've covered how so many of these people, these radicals in the machine, they're like a Malthusian death cultist. They don't care how many people starve or freeze to death in the winter. They don't care. They don't care how many people they send off to die. They don't care. That serves them. And so I worry, because now we see more and more of these polarized people in public office, running companies, working in HR, handling media, teaching children. I think this is all leading somewhere very explosive and very bad for civic peace. So no matter what happens tonight and the rest of this week, just remember that. This has been building for decades. This has been building a very long time. And this is why Chris and I have the Empire of Lies stream on Thursday night. You need to understand why we are where we are at. Because if you understand that, it makes things make more sense when you see what's going on around you. And Chris and I like to educate. We were misled and hoodwinked growing up into believing shit that ain't real, and that flew all over both of us, and we came together in passion to deliver to you what we think are answers about why things are so screwed up. So tune in Thursday night. I don't know exactly what we'll be covering depending on how insane things get in the United States. I assume Chris and I will at least have a Gulag Cafe. I don't know what's going on this week, and neither does he. So we'll probably see you Thursday night for something. And I know that this has been a very long video, but I had a lot to say. And I want you to understand, things could get much different in a very short period of time. And if the nothing ever happens bros are right, and 5 years from now nothing's changed and it's just a continual anti-white decline, then I will eat crow, I will apologize, and I will amend my claims about the nothing ever happens people. But it feels like they are wrong from what I've observed the last 3 to 4 years. So, anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Beautiful fall weather. It feels like heaven out here. It's my favorite kind of weather, my favorite kind of overcast sky. And I don't know. I just love the fall. I love the winter. It's great stuff. So I hope you guys have a safe week and make good choices. And I really hope that what is righteous and noble and good for us will come to pass. I hope and pray that not just the white race, but Western civilization and everyone who cares about it will make wise, healthy decisions. And I pray that we have a future worth living and that the West will thrive again. And I hope that you pray for that too. Have a great week, everybody. And I'll see you Monday for Discordant Dragons. Maybe Thursday night for something else. God bless.